Welcome, dear community, to a Thriver Talk. And today I have the beautiful Kristy with me, and her story is absolutely amazing. And Kristy reached out to me and she said, I want to share my story with the community. So we've got together, we're together today, and I'm super excited about this because I know Kristy is going to be able to inspire and help a lot of people when it looks like it's hopeless and there's no way out, because this is a big story. So anyway, Kristy, let's jump into this. And we're just going to start off with, you had a narcissist in your life, and this was a very high level narcissist. But anyway, well, first of all, thank you so much for coming on. You know, it's great to have you.
Thank you for having me. I'm really blessed to be here. I'm so excited for this.
Same. Okay, so the narcissist in your life was not just any garden variety narcissist. So yeah, just describe, what the abuse was.
The abuse was horrific. So all of the things, it was sexual, physical, mental, emotional, financial. So everything that could have happened did happen. It was for a very long period of time. So I was in the relationship for 20 years. His main weapon of choice was the children. So my oldest son, and then I have twins. And after reading your programs, that gave me a lot of knowledge around the dynamic that in that relationship with golden child, scapegoat, and then the forgotten child. I had a long history of domestic abuse, or narcissistic abuse. So by the end of the relationship, I was in a really bad way.
And the thing is too, as I know from your story, police were involved, so many times, because you really were a domestic violence victim going through the system with police. And 20 years is a long, long time.
Mm.
And it started early, didn't it? Like, you were very young when the violence started.
Yeah, I was only 19 and I was targeted. I didn't have much family. My mother passed away when I was younger. My dad wasn't there and ended up in care, which obviously I then ended up with core abandonment wounds and just searching for love in all the wrong places. And then obviously the narcissist came along and was my knight in shining armor and professed to love me and nobody else would love me, and that just filled all of those gaps. So I was easily manipulated. Young, no guidance, not much family, and not a lot of experience.
And then when kids get added to that, and exactly, like, that's your whole identity, is that family and being that mom and stuff like that. So the breakdown, okay, so how did you leave him? I mean, I know how you left him, and it's pretty dramatic.
Yeah, so at the very end of it, I was completely suicidal. I was in a really bad way. I couldn't function. I couldn't think properly. I was suffering horrendously, and I couldn't do it anymore, Melanie. And he attacked me so violently one night, and my son had to step in and stop him from killing me. And that was it. It was either that or I was gonna die. So I ended up fleeing in the middle of the night, and I ended up, this is in Sydney, New South Wales, I ended up Wyong Mental Health Unit. And that's how I eventually got out of the DV, through the mental health system.
And the diagnoses, let's talk about those that you were given.
So I was given CPTSD, situational psychosis, dissociation, depression, and anxiety. I also had a cognitive impairment, which affected my reading, writing, and I had a stutter. That's enough. That's a lot. I was in a really bad way.
It's as bad as it gets.
Yeah.
Yeah, physically, mentally, emotionally, it's as bad as it gets.
Correct.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so how long ago were you in that place?
So I was in Wyoming mental health 4.5 years ago, and I was told by the doctors then that I'd be on disability benefits for the rest of my life with the severity of my trauma because the abuse was so severe.
Well, look at you now.
And I'm not on disability benefits.
You're beautiful, you're glowing. And,
Yes.
towards the end of this, we're going to share because Kristy is living her Dharma. She is out there in the world. Wait till you hear. It's just so inspirational. But obviously, we had, A to B. We had you half dead or probably 90% dead.
Yeah.
And now today, okay, so the healing journey, what happened? How?
So obviously, when I got out of mental health, I had to take medication to stabilize my brain because I was in such a bad way. But what that enabled me to do was be able to, well, actually, I'll start in how I came across your amazing programs. It was definitely guided. Like I landed with you at the exact right time I needed it. And from that moment, when I downloaded NARP Gold, and just, I think this is important that I say this, when I fled with nothing. So I didn't have a home. I fled with nothing like most survivors do. But your programs were affordable enough, and I obviously couldn't work at that time, but I needed your programs, and it was affordable enough for me to be able to. And I think that's a key component because financial abuse is a big component of narcissistic abuse. So,
It always is.
yeah.
Right.
So the fact that I had access to your programs and the somatic healings changed my life.
Mm. So okay, all right. So the brain damage is now healed. Uh-huh. So
Mm-hmm.
because my brain damage healed too with quantum freedom healing. So did you target the brain damage like directly, or did you just keep releasing what arose with triggers? How did you do the quantum freedom healing journey to heal from the inside out? How did you
Yeah.
do it?
Really important because the tools are there, but everyone's journey is different on what traumas they've got to target.
Of course.
For me, in the beginning, I was that horrifically full of trauma. It was just clearing anything and all out. Just clearing. I worked diligently, and I'm very proud of myself because I put the work in.
And
I knew.
that's so key because, people like you with the massive turnarounds and people like me, it's because we put that inner work in.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I just had complete faith that I was where I needed to be, doing what I needed to do to get me to where I am now. And as the journey went on in my healing, obviously then the universe would provide different things and I would have different challenges. And then I would target key things as my healing journey went along, particularly with the smear campaign, which
Oh,
was
yes.
horrific. Oh, God. I just can't even tell you how bad it was. Oh,
Well, for malignant narcissists at the level, and my ex was similar to this
yeah.
too. Right. We've got similar journeys. Yeah, the smear campaigns are something else.
Oh, it's next level. And
And people out there they know they've gone through this. Yeah.
it's horrific. I don't think you can't, if you haven't walked it, I
No,
just don't can describe it, like how horrific it is.
there's no way you could. No,
No,
no.
like
And there's no way you can be prepared for it because it's unthinkable.
it's unthinkable.
Yeah,
I was literally the victim and I was the villain. And
of
I
course.
and the smearing went on for so many years that I didn't even know it was going on for. By the time it come to light, I was the drug addict, I was the abuser, I was all the things. So like just identifying that the fact that you're not only just healing from the abuse from a narcissist, you're also fighting for your life to survive against a community of people. And it's it's a hard journey. And if I didn't have your modules, if I didn't have someone that understood what I was going through, just one person, it makes me a bit teary. I don't think I would have survived without you, Melanie. I wouldn't have survived without you and your programs and the healing. I wouldn't be here today.
Oh, Kristy, were you in the NARP forum? Did you?
I didn't so much. I obviously, I was a gold member.
Yeah.
I was just healing and healing and healing, healing. And I just feel, I can't tell you how many times I've done your courses. Like I constantly even go back and just reread things, and it's like gold in a book. Like the fact that we're not taught these things.
Oh, I know, and we're not. And then even when you get into the psychology, it's like there's a whole deeper level again that's going on. Because I studied all the counseling and the psychology, and I did all the, but it wasn't until this journey of the inside out somatic journey that I'm like, oh my God, now it makes sense. Like it really makes sense. That's awesome. You put the work in, and that thing that you were saying about the smearing, that's the persecution programs that are so, and it's such a normal human skirmish that we have. But if we've got it, we're really susceptible to narcissistic abuse, and it's shoring up all that stuff of the. So, okay, trauma symptoms, you had them through the roof, right? You had the CPTSD and it. Okay, so how's all that now?
I am better than, like, how to describe it. I'm better than obviously before abuse, but I'm even better than that. Because now I'm going to other people and I'm doing all these amazing things. But I think it also, because I wanted to touch on this, when my brain started healing and I started getting control of my triggers, and then I had the knowledge behind it as well, which your programs provided me with, I started being able to communicate clearly, particularly with police, and keeping myself and grounded, collating my information, not reacting, targeting my triggers, doing all the things that you teach in your programs, and feelings, and things started to shift for me.
Because he got brought to justice,
But it's phenomenal. Like, me and my best friend sit there and just go, what?
Can walk us through a bit of that, because this is important.
So I had obviously a massive journey with police because he was so violent. And while I was in that heavy trauma and his smearing and the rest of it, he kept getting away with it. He just kept getting away with it. And
when we're in trauma, they do. They do. Yep. Until it shifts, and then they don't. Yep.
And then they don't.
And then
exactly. So by me shifting and coming into my power and being able to stay calm and grounded, not reacting, collating my information, getting rid of the persecution programs, also getting rid of, I think it was 5 and 7, the fear. The fear was the big one. And then the injustice. I was in so much pain over all injustice.
Of course, it's horrific.
Yeah. So once I figured that out, things started to turn around. I was getting the right police. I ended up with amazing detectives that are like, support me beyond measure. I ended up with the right domestic violence services. I ended up in the right courts. I ended up just everything started to fall into place. And it is so true. I heard you when you said it's inside out. Just keep healing. Just keep healing. And I did. And it's
And, you know, sadly, Kristy, so many people have the experiences in often broken systems where they
Mm,
get the wrong police, they get the wrong courtroom, they get the wrong judge, they get the
mhm,
wrong solicitor, even narcissistic solicitors. And
mhm,
that is absolutely everybody's experience until they understand quantum law. So
mm,
within, so without. When we're vibrating in horrific narcissistic abuse trauma, then everything you're connecting up with is only going to traumatize you more.
correct.
Exactly. And this is what's hard to teach people, that this is a spiritual battle. It's not a practical battle.
It is.
And no thinking and doing is going to get you through this. It's the beingness that has to shift frequency, and then you win the war.
Mhm.
What
And
happened to him with,
so we're still in court.
yeah,
So we've got a trial coming up. Unfortunately, after me, there was a second victim of severe assault. So there's an additional charges for her. But he's on strict conditions for bail, and I'm thriving.
yeah,
And I've cleared all my fear on it, and I've handed it over, and it's all just going to work out how it should work out. And in the meantime, all I do is focus on myself, my healing, my journey, and now my mission in order to help others. So the
I
justice is
love that.
still coming,
Yeah.
and um, regardless, regardless, I've won. Regardless, I've won
Goosebumps everywhere.
because I'm now the best version of myself I've ever been.
This is the whole point. This is, you know, look, I, I could talk for 3 hours on the stuff that you've just said to, you know, unpack it, but it's all there in what you just said.
Mm,
Because in the trauma, we're waiting for something on the outside to change to get us
mm,
untraumatized, and it never comes and it never works. But this way, it actually usually does come when you don't need it,
yeah,
because you're already liberated into your best self.
I am. And I'm completely at peace. And I wake up each day and I'm happy. And was the journey tough? Of course it was, because I had so much.
Absolutely.
But like, and I, and I have to keep saying this, I dedicated myself to my healing because I was worth that.
Yeah.
I was worth being pain free. I wanted to break the intergenerational traumas. I
Yeah.
didn't want this cycle to continue on.
Yeah.
I wanted to be that cycle breaker, and I knew that I deserved to have a beautiful life and be pain free, as does everybody.
Mm.
And unfortunately, like when I would read your programs, I'm like, why don't they teach this stuff? I was so codependent. I didn't know boundaries.
Mm.
Oh, so
Where were
great.
any of us taught this, unless you had a parent that actually had that stuff down pat and modeled it, and they didn't? You know, it's so rare to find somebody who's got natural self-worth and self-value and good boundary function. And certainly for all of us in this community, we just did not have that.
No, I was highly codependent. When I was reading them, I was just like, oh my God. But I guess and I think I've heard you say this before as well. Yeah, it might be a bit confronting reading those things and thinking, being accountable for
Yeah.
self.
Yeah.
However, the best thing is you've got access to you. You have control over that.
Yeah.
You can't control what's going on with the smear campaign to a certain degree other than your own healing and taking care of self.
Mm.
You can't control them, and if you stay focused on them and not self, then you're not liberating yourself. You're not coming home to yourself. You're not loving yourself and filling yourself up with all of those things that you deserve. And I think that's the essence of it. It's coming home to self.
What I love, and I see it in you, when you rise vibrationally above narcissistic abuse by taking your soul, your spirit, and everything back the way it was always meant to be, when you overcome that level of fear and breakdown, you become pretty fearless in the world.
You
As
do.
to, yeah, you're like, is that the best you got after what you, right? And people will tell you, like in the contemporary things, we heard all this. I heard this with my breakdown. You're never going to be the same again. You're never actually, you'll always have diminished trust in yourself and life and others. I was told I would need 3 antipsychotics for the rest of my life because my brain broke so badly. And, so we're told, okay, this is the best you can expect after what happened to you. Whereas the best is yet to come.
It's not the truth. And I think when I was guided and landed on your programs and all your teachings, I watched every single one of your videos, like religiously. Like I was just hooked because my soul knew that that's what I needed. And I didn't conform to being told that I was always going to be that way. I was always going to be on medication. And it wasn't long after I started your healing programs that I was able to stop taking medication. I'm medication free. Like it wasn't too long after. It was about getting me level. But then as soon as I started my healings, like it really shifted quite quickly.
Yeah. And there's a big difference between medicating symptoms, trying to numb out symptoms, or actually releasing and healing at the core.
Oh, the work you do is invaluable. And I knew with my soul, as soon as I landed on it, that this was my key. This was my way out, or my journey back to myself. This was it. And I was prepared for whatever I had to do. Yeah.
Before you came forward, I'd never met you because I didn't see you in the forum. And I mean, this happens, and I love this because I'm like, especially all of it's saving lives and saving souls. And what I'm super duper excited about with you is you are making a big difference in the world now. And okay, this is like, I want everybody to know this, like our biggest breakdowns and stuff that has hurt us and the stuff we need to learn and heal the most is usually the stuff. It's our Dharma often. And it's what we're here to share with the world. Not as an unhealed person. There's too many people doing that. I'm really unhealed and I'm still toxified and I'm trying to help others. Kind of like, on airplanes where they put the, oxygen mask on people, but haven't put it on themselves first. You've put it on. So you really put it on. Okay. And I love that. Look at you. I love it. It's just beautiful. But okay, what are you doing? Let's share with the community what you're up to.
I just wanted to say one other thing with the healings, because I think this is good information. I put the oxygen mask on myself, but that in turn helped me be more solid for my children.
Absolutely.
So, us mama bears are so, that was my drive to be my best self for myself and for my children. And it made me better. I was able to stay calm, clear, supportive, show up differently. I was no longer a toxic parent from coming from abuse. So that gave me back that ability to be what I always wanted to be. So I just wanted to point that out as well.
So important, that point. How are the kids doing?
The boys are still struggling. My daughter is just accepted or just passed graduation in the Navy, and she's a weapons specialist. So yeah, so she's got big things happening at the moment. And yeah, so we're still on the journey, but it's 1,000 times better than where we were. And yep, just wanted to point that out. But in terms of what I'm doing now is I'm advocating. I work closely with the police and Department of Communities and Justice. I tell my story at many events to inspire people to be able to heal and come back to themselves. I change mindsets by education within different spaces on trauma recovery and the fact that we can heal, because there is a stigma around the fact that we can't heal, and services
drives me crazy.
So crazy. And I'm like, standing here, I'm living proof. I'm trying to raise as much as awareness as I can, that we can heal and recover even better than before abuse. And I also do little coaching on the side and support victims from domestic abuse in different services with trauma recovery as well. And I just spoke at Parliament this morning, Sydney. So, so I'm out there
You
trying
are.
to bring normalization to these conversations. Well, not normalizations that they're okay, but that we can have these conversations.
Important.
Yeah. So giving a voice. I also run some panel discussions with victim survivors so that they can share their stories. And so we're not hiding in the shadows in shame, but bringing their voices out to the community. So I also do that.
That's fantastic. Kristy, where can people find you? Aussies or people in Sydney or whatever that, you can help support?
So I have my Facebook page, which is Kristy Drower, and it's just got healing domestic abuse, or just my normal page, which is just Kristy Drower. And that's pretty much where I'm at the moment. I do have a website, but I don't tend to be on that as much as social media to be a lot more rampant than.
And we'll stick that up with these show notes as well so that people can find you.
Perfect.
Yeah. And look, Kristy, is there anything else that you think is really important for people to help inspire them?
I just really want to say, and I know we've touched on it, but the knowledge in your ebooks is invaluable. It really is. And when I say they should be teaching this stuff, like just in life, they should be. And I really want to advocate for that, because living your life from a highly codependent person or self is always handing your power away instead of being empowered. And as soon as I could make that shift and start implementing some of the teachings in but it changed my life. It really changed my life. And I just can't say enough how vitalized my life is now, just from landing in the right space at the right time, and how invaluable what you do is for the community. Because there's not like that. Obviously there's other people out there, but it's not like you, Melanie.
Thank you. Thank you. And yeah, that's the NARP Gold, those 7 ebooks that you're talking about. And also too, I'm going to put in the show notes, because there's quite a few people on the silver program, and I only actually promote NARP Gold now, because we've got so much with it. We've got the speedy shifts, because you've jumped onto the speedy shifts as well, haven't you? Just share with people.
I've got it all. I've even got Empowered Self and the Family Origins. I've got it all. But the speedy shifts are great for me now that I'm so busy with enjoying my life and doing many things. They're great for in the morning. If anything comes up for me, if I get triggered, I've got something quick and easy to access, and it's a fast shift. So I find them really, really useful. And then if I've got something deeper that pops up, then I can do a full clearing. There's just so many different options within your course, but they all work. So you can use
for everybody.
Something for everybody. You can use them how they fit, whatever works for you, whatever you're targeting, whatever trauma. Now I'm like so advanced at using your healings that I just know where to go. I know what I'm doing, and I just pick up what I need and just get straight to it. And I feel instant relief. Like it's phenomenal.
It is instant relief.
It's instant relief.
I had a drama with a sales funnel last night that was like, it's been 3 weeks, and I did in bed a little speedy shift on myself till I got to a 10 out of 10 on the resolution. Woke up this morning to messages where I've got the answers and the resolution. And that's how it always happens,
Of it. It's the power of life shifting. Like, it's phenomenal. I never thought coming from where I've come from, that I could be where I am right now. And I'm eternally grateful. And I was saying, Melanie, before I did this interview, I was telling everyone I'm going to meet my idol.
Oh,
Because I'm
gosh.
so life now. I'm just so thankful.
Well, we're all in this together, and I'm just so thrilled that people like you and I, who were on death's door, I know I wouldn't have survived if I hadn't have found tools to shift. I wouldn't have. There's no way. And what I love is you're on your Dharma. You know, your soul planned this all perfectly, albeit so harshly, but this is exactly what catapulted you into your life's mission. And you're a beautiful, you can see like you are on song with your life's work. Our greatest tragedies become our most incredible triumphs if we shift them, if we
Yeah.
midwife them, if we do the work. So, oh,
And that's
Kristy.
a key component. When you learn that you don't actually have to hold on to the trauma, like you don't actually have to keep it. It's
Thank
just,
God.
yeah, thank
Because it
God.
eats us alive. It
It's literally
eats
sick.
you alive.
Like, I mean, I would love at some point to show a before and after photo of what I was like when I got out of mental health to now, but the physical, the internal, the everything is completely different about me. And that is from shifting out that trauma.
And I think we've got that. I think you did send that to me a few months ago
Yeah.
when we were talking. So if you're happy to share that,
Mm.
yeah, we will share that, because that's, you know, amazing. Well, Kristy, just any last words of wisdom before we end this amazing interview?
Just keep healing. The answer is in you. Just keep healing. And I know I also want to recognize that it's a hard journey. And it really is. Like, there were breakdowns and I was in a lot of horrific pain, but just keep healing.
Yeah.
You're going to get where you need to get. Just keep healing. That's my message.
Yeah. Well, Kristy, thank you so much for coming on and your generosity, sharing your time with all of us. Busy woman speaking at Parliament.
Yeah.
So gorgeous. All right. Thank you so much. And I hope everybody that you really enjoyed this Thriver talk. And we hope that it gives you inspiration to know that narcissistic abuse is not a life sentence. It's not a death sentence. It's not a soul sentence. You know, there's an incredible life awaiting on the other side. All right. Lots of love, and bye-bye.